All right, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of St. Kofis Sessions. I am Kofi Annan. I'm here with my boy
Kofi D. I'm here, man. What's up, man?
What's good?
Man, a lot going on.
Yeah, man. We got this might be the first pod where we got t-shirts on. It all of a sudden turned summer.
Yeah. It's turning summer, but you know how weather is down this way. It goes up, it goes down. I saw a chart that says it's like 12 seasons in Virginia. You got fall, spring, fall, summer, the pollen. I think we in the middle of the pollen. Somebody see my eyes red. It ain't because I'm doing nothing I'm not supposed to do.
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
The pollen
like you gotta do what you gotta do to get by.
Nah, the pollen is killing me though. But before we get into all the madness and the topic of the day, we gotta thank our sponsors. I think it's somewhere up there, right?
Resist Booksellers,
right?
And Modern Man Photography.
Yeah. So we got magic now. Things just magically float in places and show up and references because we got a good damn videographer. I'll tell you that.
Videographer, producer, editor,
executive producer, all around just good guy. Shout out to Modern Man Photography.
Yes sir. What's good?
Oh man. First and foremost, rest in peace to Jesse Jackson. Whatever you think about him, the man was a fighter for civil rights, and he came from an era where we needed people of his ilk. We needed people of his stature to push us forward as a nation. So I know there's been a lot of controversy, and I'll be honest with you, Kofi. I hate today that we kind of poo-poo on our elders and our ancestors. They weren't perfect creatures or beings. Because guess what? You and I, somebody's going to say something about you and I get called a tether. So.
They say stuff about me all the time.
Yeah,
that just comes with the territory, though. It's like you put yourself out there, you're gonna get criticized. You're gonna for something.
Yeah.
So yeah. I actually used to live across the street from Jesse Jackson.
Yeah, you told me that. You told me you used to live across the street from.
Yeah, me and him was boys.
You told me. So did you have any interactions with him at all?
Nah, not really. No, not at all. I just happened to know he was there. Matter of fact, I think I saw him go in or out of his house a couple times or whatever, but never actually interacted with him.
Yeah.
And I was younger. I knew who he was, but I didn't really know him. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think I just hate that we poo-poo on our ancestors now. I think because we have I won't say a larger voice. I think that there's so many voices, given the fact of how media is so fractured today, and everybody can say something through comments and whatever. You just get a wide range of just stuff.
Yeah.
So
you think people poo-poo Jesse Jackson?
Yeah, people were talking about how he was, not a sellout, but he always was the one that came on bended knee and things like that. There were some things I didn't agree with Jesse, but I honestly could say that the man did what he had to do to push the agenda forward.
Yeah, I don't really have nothing negative to say about Jesse. I thought he was a great leader, and I think he's. I owe a lot of our freedoms to his fight, and he could rhyme, so. it made the message even better.
I have to say the South Park episode when I guess the kids on South Park were said something about token. Remember, I don't know if you ever watched South Park. Yeah, and they were trying to do everything. Matter of fact, it was I think it was Stan's dad. Was it Stan? I think Stan or Kyle when he was on Wheel of Fortune, and they came up with like the letters. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It was like N blank GGGGGER. And he was like, people that annoy you. And he was like, I don't know if I can say it. Then he said it. And then the word ended up being naggers. Naggers. And the point of the episode was because they were trying to get back in Token's good graces. And they went to Jesse Jackson. And Jesse Jackson, the character her was like, if you want to be back in with black people, kiss my ass. So they literally like had the dad like kiss Jesse Jackson's ass. But then Token was like, y'all don't get it. He's not the emperor of black people. Like just because you made up with him don't mean we're cool. So I don't mean to bring up that funny reference, but he was larger than life. And if you make it on Saturday Night Live, what's the other one? South Park and some of these other like pop culture icons. You made it big.
Yeah, no, he's a cultural icon. He's the he can't say enough positive things about Jesse. I have nothing negative to say about Jesse.
Nah.
Rest in peace, brother.
I don't either. Whatever. What else is going on in the world? We're currently at war with Iran. Operation Urgent.
When are we
Fury?
not at war? God. I mean, I for one, like, look. Can we just have like a 5-year period where we just not at war? That's just my hope. Honestly, for as much as I'm no big Trump fan, but I honestly bought into his campaign rhetoric when he was like, we're not no more new wars, and all of a sudden he's like bombing like 8 different countries. I'm like, what the just par for the course, man. Just par for the course. But unfortunately, but shout out to all the service members out there who actually, fighting this war, regardless of how you feel about everything, or the politics behind it. These service members are really just trying to do their job and come home and do the best as they can, as they've been assigned to do.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that as Americans we can get behind, is the people that actually is doing the work and protecting our freedoms. Your unbiased opinion.
Yeah.
You just want to support those people. And I won't say my homegirl name that's heading over there. You know who you are. Safe travels. Get back safe. We love you, care about you, and things like that. So please just get home safe. And please, I just really hope that you as a service member, for everybody that's over there, you just know that you are in our prayers, you're in our thoughts and everything else. So it's some crazy times. Last thing before we get into
our
episode, you're happy because
the
Magic City got
Magic City.
Oh God,
man, yes. Can we have some decence? Can we keep the debauchery in the debauchery section? Why are we trying to have Magic City strippers or recognition of the great stripping they did in a basketball game?
They weren't going to be on the court.
It
was acknowledging the establishment that has been in Atlantic.
They were going to be on the court.
No, they were not.
I'm pretty sure.
No, they were going to acknowledge like the owner and the historical significance.
You didn't think they would have brought some strippers out?
No, they were not. And T.I. was going to do a performance. they had already kind of.
They would have brought some strippers out.
They had sanitized.
They might not have stripped, but there was going to be some. You can't have Magic City. Matter of fact, that's almost worse in a way. So you telling me you're going to acknowledge the strip club, but not bring the workers out?
No, because it was more of a cultural acknowledgement than it was of a we're going to do some debauchery or whatever. But I get it. Cooler heads prevailed. But I go back to saying this. Well, they did. Cooler heads did prevail.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Luke Knipple, he even what's your boy name? He played with the Celtics. Oh my God.
Tatum?
No. He Dominican guy. Al Horford. He even came out against it too.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Like, look, nothing against if you stripping, that's your job, you making a living. I ain't mad at you at all. It's just that you deserve to be in that section over there, family entertainment over here. This is not something that we need to be promoting as and I say this especially from like a black perspective. We over sexualize and our women way too much, and I'm being consistent here. Okay. So like, we talked about the hip hop culture. We talked about how this stuff, how women are portrayed in these videos and stuff like that. And so you can't on the one hand say that we need to like stop over sexualizing women and things like that, but then on the other hand recognizing them at a family event, so like, nah, man, keep it over there. Like, kudos to you making your money, but like, nah.
I told you, man. I heard the Wizards doing Saturday night for Stadium.
Man, you ain't heard that.
I heard that.
You ain't heard that.
I heard my boy, what's his name? Stan Leone is the owner, man.
You know what? Maybe a couple years ago, we might have. But I think we getting our act together.
Shout out to Stadium, man. But Kofi, what do we got today for our topic?
So today we are talking about code switching. So the idea of code switching is changing up your mannerisms, your dialect, your style, your the way you carry yourself in order to fit in. right? So we're gonna talk about, is this good, bad, necessary, all of that. So how it impacts workplace, how it impacts our psyche. So I think there's a lot to unpack there because it happens in a lot of different cultures, and not just the black culture, but a lot, throughout the diaspora, but in other cultures as well. So I think this is really a topic that affects a lot of people, and so.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're not gonna go full Brian Gumbo on me. Like you're not gonna do that. But like, well, today we're going to talk about, no, I'm shout out to Brian, man. Code switching.
Yeah. So how you feel about it?
I'm actually under the belief you shouldn't code switch. I actually believe that you should be well versed in your intellect, in your mannerism, in your vernacular to be able to operate on a common level within reason now that you can go anywhere and transport yourself. Now, I know there's some things where you get around your boys, you get around, your girl, or you get around whatever, you're comfortable people, you may act a little bit different. But I don't know. I feel like when people say code switching, I always see the funny versions or the funny, before and after. They'll be like, hey, my name's Kofi. It's good to meet you. I'm swell. Yeah. And then they get back, this motherfucker here. Excuse my language. Does it have to be that extreme? I think an even keel message of, hey, look, this is who I am. Who I am in the office still has some type of inclinations of my authentic self. Who I am at home still is my authentic self. I may turn it up, I may turn it down just a notch, but it doesn't have to be two different people. I've seen some people who are two different people where you get them and they be like, yeah, they would did that to me. Hey, how you doing there, Bob? It goes well. You're like, whoa, where did that come from? But I understand, especially in our culture, and I would say the diaspora, we can relate it back to the continent, but in the diaspora, being the minority, oftentimes, you are in a place where you may be one of few, right? And when I hate to use this term, don't hit me for this, people of color. Right? When you use, I have to use that term.
I think it applies. I don't love the term, but I think it applies. Yeah.
When you are one of the few people of color, you kind of are the de facto representation of your race in that local environment. So if we're all in the office together and I'm the only black guy, right? People's everyday thoughts, everyday interactions is going to be, hey, well, Kofi at work's the black guy that, maybe he can teach me how to Dougie. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to Dougie, but I know somebody, but all the girls love me. I don't know. Like, it's a thing, right? So I say this to say this. It is a necessary evil in my opinion. But can we not turn the dial from 0 to 60? Can we have some intermediate subtle changes instead of being like, yeah, going from left to right? Can we be somewhere in the middle? Well, what's your thoughts, bro?
I'm not too far off from you on this one.
We agree on something.
We sort of agree. I mean, so yeah, I feel like you should try not to do it, but I also feel like it's natural. And I'll give another example that's not even it's a form of code switching, but it's not from like a racial standpoint. It's actually more from like a cultural standpoint. Like when I'm around my Guyanese family, like you give me about 15 minutes and I might sound totally different. And I'm not even consciously doing it. I'm just trying to like adjust to
your tone.
I think there's a desire to make sure that your audience understands you in the way that they understand things or whatever, right? And so I think there's some of that, but I also think that there's people who, like you said, take it to another level because they're almost ashamed to be themselves, or they're afraid to be themselves, right?
Or themselves
Yeah.
are not. I don't want to say they're not comfortable, but they feel like their selves are not acceptable in that environment.
Yeah. And so I think especially like in work environments, I think that happens a lot. Like if you work in a primarily white environment, you might feel. I know I've felt the pressure before to sound different or to try to blend in, with them. And
But why?
yeah, it takes a certain level of comfortability with yourself, in order to like to say, nah, I'm gonna just kind of be myself, and not everybody has that strength or confidence to say, well, I'm gonna just be my authentic self, and you know,
Yeah, it's interesting because I had a conversation with one of my friends about this, like, because he always tells me, he's like, man, you don't code switch. He's like, you are the same way. You are the same crazy person you are, regardless of any place. And I said, well, I don't realize I'm doing it because I just feel like you should go into the room. But I also understand that there is a time and there is a place that certain things are acceptable and not acceptable. Because ultimately your actions, your words and stuff do have consequences. And you can't always be the crazy guy in a high stress environment. That won't get you places.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You in a stressful environment, you can't always be clowning and joking around. So, I think people oftentimes confuse code switching with adjusting to the nature of the nature of the situation. Because if it's not time to laugh and joke, that's not code switching. Like if it's something serious, like if we're doing something that can take our life, like our life or a limb or eyesight, that's not code switching. If I say, all right, let's get serious now.
Yeah.
But I think with us, I hate to say it, it's almost like in black culture, I put code switching on the same thing as like joking. It's like people are quick to say something, funny or be like, oh, look at him, he's code switching. It becomes it becomes almost like a poking the bear. Like,
you remember the episode? So I think Key and Peele, the Barack Obama skit.
Oh, come on now. That's
right.
That's a classic.
That's a classic, right? So he's going through and he's shaking all the white people's hand. He's like, "Yeah, how you doing there? Nice to meet you." And then he goes up to all the black people like, "Hey, yo, hey,"
he's like, "Oh, give me some love there." Oh, man, that's all we got. That's all we got. Yeah.
But there's an actual clip of Obama doing that. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so that came from there's some element of truth there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a level of comfortability. Like I think it just kind of comes out naturally. I don't know if that's even like intentional. It's just
but so question to you, right? What is the benefit in your opinion of code switching? Is it just to purely just fit in and not stick out? But what is the ultimate benefit of code switching in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's to make others feel comfortable.
So people don't feel comfortable with your.
I think that's the thought. I think the people that code switch consciously or unconsciously are doing it to make the person that they're speaking to feel comfortable. So you could and so usually it comes from if you're in a minority in a majority setting, right? So like that goes all the way, and so like from like a black perspective, like that goes all the way from like us always having to feel like we are inferior, like, and so like and like this is a superior culture, and so we have to act like them to in order to kind of justify our presence. Like, yeah, we belong here. I can sound like you. I can talk to you. You can relate to me because I sound like you. It's never the other way around.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've seen code switching when there's a majority of a minority versus when it might be somebody else. So for instance, I've been in situations where there's been, I'll just use an example, there's a whole bunch of black guys and then there may be one white guy. And I've seen like some of my, white friends or white coworkers be like, oh man, you see the NBA game tonight? I'm like, you don't watch no NBA. I'm like, come on, man. Like, did you force yourself to watch the NBA? Like, I do look at baseball, man. I might catch a hockey game every now and then. Matter of fact, let's just keep it strictly football. Like, so it's funny.
We both like football. Yeah.
So the thing is, the majority when the scope is flipped, they also may do it too.
Yeah.
It's just.
But don't you think it's more likely the other way around? Like, don't you? I feel like
depends on where you live at.
I feel like the majority will always feel more confident in themselves because like their culture is more
present,
the standard, right? And so it's like You know what I'm saying? So it feels like if you're a minority in a situation, you almost feel like you have to. You're more. There's more pressure to adjust up, if you will.
I would love to, I guess, ask, right? Because I know this situation has been reversed before for people, and how did they act? Because oftentimes I feel like if you're, let's say, the majority, you don't have to code switch regardless of anything. Wherever you're at, you just be yourself. I think it's a purely, it's a thing for minorities. I think minorities actually have that mode or that button in them per se that says, "Oh, I have to be a certain way." But I think if the tables were flipped in a setting, they don't have to be that way. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense.
So I mean, like so there's a lot of stigma associated with how black people kind of generally or stereotypically act, right? So like there's a possibility.
Can you give me an example of this?
So like
I want to see this. Give me a good example now.
I mean, but something just as easy as, like, you know, how you greet each other, like dapping each other up or whatever, right? Like that to some that might be perceived as like ghetto or whatever, right?
So you're not pulling your boss and you remember the Wayans brothers? He's like, "What's up, man? You know, you remember the Wayans brothers?" I don't know if you remember the Wayans brothers when Marlon used to pull people in and he used to dap them up and pull it. You don't do that to your boss?
I don't do that to my boss. No, but regardless, boss or it not. But like in another setting, like somebody might look at that and like think like, "Oh, that's acting ghetto," right? Or at least I think subconsciously, like there's a negative association with quote unquote acting black. Right, and so like I think that's the pressure that people might be up against. Like you don't want to be perceived as acting black per se.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. I guess I've seen it on the other fence where when the majority is the minority, the people will also try to change some things too, and it's quite comical. It's like, you don't have to try that hard. It's like just be yourself. And I think ultimately, what's wild is we talk about code switching. Code switching happens among the diaspora too.
Yeah.
Because you, as a first generation, I think you're considered first generation, right?
No, I mean I was.
No, you immigrated. No, I
was actually immigrated.
Okay,
here,
so I'm
my son is a first generation.
Okay, so I'm first generation. So for you had to code switch a bit,
most
and
definitely.
It wasn't among race.
Yeah, it was a culture.
It was among culture.
It was a culture. Yeah.
I mean, I know you mentioned it before, but how did you code switch?
So for me, it was trying to sound like an American, or trying to, you know, at the time, a black American,
all of
that, you know.
Word.
Like, yeah, I mean, going from sounding like Caribbean, you know, accent and all of that, and wanting to fit in, you know, is a similar thing. I'll give you another example too. So when I went to Ghana, last time I went, right, we went to look at some houses. We met up with this real estate agent, and she's a Ghanaian, right? And she was talking in almost like a British accent, right? Like, and I had to ask her. I was like, "You spent some time in England, or, you know, what's this British?" She's like, "No." But it was like, why are you? She associated British with being proper, right? And so
well, I mean, the Supreme Court and their high court still wear white wigs over there,
right? So I mean, we can't separate out code switching when it comes to talking about black people with the context of why we were always felt like we were less than, and like why we had to adjust to white culture. So I think it's still happening, and in that situation, she felt like the British was proper. And so she wanted to sound proper, and so she's talking to other black people. We're talking just like this, and we're talking normal, you know. But she's like, like, what are you talking? Then she gets on the phone talking to her family, and she's a full-on Ghanaian, you know. So
I think I think the thing about code switching is we always look at it in terms of race, but also it'd be culture. Because I mean, if you go certain places, how the way you talk, because I remember when I used to travel up to Baltimore and DC for summers and stuff like that, they used to call me country. and
True.
I think so much of we think about it in a racial connotation, but I think code switching could be done culturally because there were certain things like my dad would tell me like when he came to this country, similar to yours, that he had to do certain things to kind of fit in.
Right.
So
right.
I think a lot of times some of these issues are really hard to talk about, and they kind of are core issues among black people across the diaspora as a whole, and we take it as a serious matter. But I think code switching, it is serious, but also there's like a lightheartedness to it too, because there's an awkward phase. Because ultimately, what is the goal? The goal is for people who want to fit into the culture that they are now assumed into, and there is some awkwardness that goes in that. Because how many times, and you probably can attest to this, how many times you said something and didn't know what it meant? You probably was picking up on words like, "Oh, I'm gonna say this," but you didn't really know the right context of it, right? I've seen it times where people who try to assimilate in the culture, not saying they try extra hard, but what they do is they'll do something to try to win somebody over. Like, what are you doing? Nobody told you to, do that or whatever. And I think a lot of times with these issues, we just gotta be lighthearted in nature. But I don't think it's always as serious as it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think to a certain extent, there is a level of natural emotional intelligence behind it, right? Like if you're speaking to somebody from a different culture, you kind of want, or race, culture, whatever, you kind of want to speak to them in a way that
they get it.
So I don't think it always comes from a negative place, but then when you layer that with history and it's particularly black people's for the context of what we're talking about, like you can't overlook how we've been kind of beat down over the centuries to feel like your accent is below this accent, right? I mean, so like you always trips me out. You ever notice that every time there's a movie or a commercial, whenever they want to portray like a really intelligent person, they have a British accent? Like that's I don't know if you notice it or not, but it's very common. Like the British accent is like you'll never see an African accent being portrayed as
I do not. Okay, all right. This is going. I'm gonna get probably a lot of comments for this. I don't want a Nigerian accent on my GPS. I do not want a Ghanaian accent trying to give me recipes, right? I'm sorry. I love my people.
British accent?
I love my people. I love my family. I love y'all. I love my Ghanaian people. Shout out to my Nigerian people. I'm saying that. I love y'all too. I do not want, because I'm just gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh because I know I'm not gonna get the straight answer. Oh, what do you want this for? Like, no, I want this because I asked for it. Don't ask me a question back. So I don't mean to take you off. I know you was making a very, significant point there. You was about to they were about to focus in on you, about to have the hallmark moment, right? But I do not want a Nigerian accent on my GPS. Please.
So I didn't get a Nigerian accent. But I got a black accent, a black person on like my Google.
Oh, I got one on ChatGPT.
So probably ChatGPT
his name
too.
That's how his name.
But it's like, like I do want to hear a black person, and like these are the things that kind of subconsciously seep into our system when you'll never see a black voice, you'll never hear a black voice being portrayed, or a black scientist, in a movie, or an African scientist, or a Jamaican scientist, because those accents and those mannerisms and those types of things outside of Black Panther, you won't get it.
I swear, my ChatGPT is black. Hold on, I don't. I'm telling you, like. I'm telling you, I gotta pull this up, and I hope this ain't copywritten or something like this. My ChatGPT. Hold on, you gotta hear this. Hello, how you doing today?
You got it on.
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about you? What's on your mind today?
That's a black guy.
Yeah,
that is a black guy. That is a black guy. You can't tell me my ChatGPT has found out who I am.
Wait, you didn't tell it to me?
No, I did not tell. I did not.
Okay.
My ChatGPT is a black guy. That sounds like a guy that he live above a Chinese food restaurant, in a big city somewhere. Like, hey, I'm always here to help you. Whatever you need me to do. I'll take care of it for you. Okay.
Yeah, no, look, I purposefully
That's not a
make
black guy, though?
Yeah. Hey, look, they I could tell. Hey, look, I could tell a black voice, and you know, sometimes my voice, I might be not even watching the TV, whatever, but I can hear it. I'm like, oh, that's a black dude talking.
Oh man, so your voice racist?
I am, I guess. I guess that's what it makes me.
So let me ask you this: when you get a call from a number you don't know, do I need to finish a statement, or do you just want to answer it?
Do I hang up?
I didn't say that. I did not say that. No. So the question is, do you already have like a preconceived notion of what that person's about to ask you based on their voice?
Oh man, I don't go that far.
It could be somebody from another country. It could be somebody like because they're probably trying to code switch on the phone because they don't know you.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't associate a value to the voice.
Okay.
But I just would recognize if it's a black person or not.
Key point you said though, and that's I think is the crux of code switching. We assume that a certain voice style or I forgot the word I want to use, but a certain voice style or tonation has value.
Yeah.
And that's the part that is sad because ultimately, even though we know the world is for what it is, right? You can't change everything about it. But why does a certain voice have to be attributed to intellect or professionalism or just overall being
that's what it is.
A good person? So that point you made, I didn't want to cut you off.
No, but that's
that
it.
The voice tonation and style makes it have more value.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly the problem with code switching is because, and so I think what it also does is that it's stressful, right? It's you now having to change up who you are. Think about it, if you're code switching all day, 8 hours a day at your job, 5 days a week, and you only get to really be yourself when you come home.
Unless you not live by yourself, because you and that dog is the only one gonna know who you are. I'm just joking. I'm sorry.
But you see what I'm saying? Like,
do you give the dog an ethnic name though if you live by yourself?
You might need to. But I think that's where like the emotional strain comes in because now you're forced to be somebody else. It's one thing if you're just like at a party or at a function and you're code switching for like an hour or so. It's another thing to do it day in and day out, you know, consciously or subconsciously, you know, like to make other people feel comfortable.
But do you think in this day and age people can sprinkle a bit of their authentic self, even if they're gonna proverbially dial that code switching dial down? Do you think they can inject little bits of their authentic self without having to go
I think you should
full blown filter? Because I look at code switching like a filter. It's like on Instagram, you could turn the filter down, you could turn it up and have a straight glass face, right? You got all your pores is just gloss, right? So can you inject your authentic self?
I think that should be the goal. But it takes a certain level of comfort, confidence. And to go in there into these situations and have your same mannerisms or whatever, and not feel like you're going to be judged for it. It's like we get criticized all the time for again, like when our accents. What's the term that they said?
Talking about ebonics.
Ebonics, right?
They still use that?
I mean, I haven't heard it in a while, but like that is a term that is used to describe talking black, right? But like that actually that comes from somewhere. Like those, if you actually trace the roots of some of these terms and mannerisms and slangs and all this other stuff, these things actually have roots in African culture and dialects and language that's been passed on. I mean, so not all of it does, but it's like you will never have somebody from there's no somebody from like Texas or Arkansas or whatever, a white person will never be made to feel ashamed of their accent, right?
Their vernacular.
Somebody from Boston, like a white person from Boston, will never be made ashamed to just be themselves, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's from Boston. Oh, that's a bad, terrible Boston accent, but you know what I'm saying.
You tried.
I tried.
You tried.
You know, but like that, it's just like that's what it is. Like he's just allowed to be himself, right? You'll never hear a British person feel the need to code switch or to change anything up.
But
right?
can I say though, the actors that are British that have American accents are wonderful.
Oh, it's crazy.
I mean, it is crazy how well they do that.
That's yeah. What's his name? Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Like for him, his ability to switch it up.
Yeah.
Like the dude that played Martin Luther King, he's British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could though, you mentioned something that I would like to highlight before we get out of here, is about this sense of having to do it based on comfortability. I challenge the people out there. I challenge everyone out there, right? Try to see if you can put a little bit of your authentic self into your professional environment. Try to see if you can put a little bit more of yourself into your everyday dealings without having to wear this proverbial mask. Because one thing for certain and two things for sure is it wears you down. It fatigues you. And if you're not able to attribute little portions of yourself throughout your day, man, I can only imagine how that wears you down or whatever. And don't get me wrong, it ain't for everybody. Everybody can't do it. But if you can, I honestly think that you should be able to do it or whatever, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I would say too, if you're in a position of influence within an organization, especially if you're a person of color, I think it's incumbent upon you to set an example to make the other people of color below you feel comfortable being themselves. So if they, you know what I'm saying? So like to let people within an organization understand and feel like, yeah, you know what, I too can rise in this organization without code switching. You know, so I think there's things that you can do as an individual, but I think there's also organizational things that they can do as well. I mean, there's conversations that organizations should have in the workplace about code switching to kind of let people know, like, yo, don't judge people differently. Don't talk about them just because they have an accent or just because they sound country or just because they sound black or whatever. Like, allow people the freedom to be themselves. True. So it's a both. It goes both ways. So
man, I can't believe we actually agreed on the topic.
We actually finally did.
I still want Magic City Mondays though.
We're not doing that.
I at least want the hoodie.
No,
I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna do it, like I said, I get your point. I completely get your point. I just want the hoodie, and I thought it was gonna be hilarious. I really thought if the NBA was gonna do that, I thought it would have been hilarious. But hey, you know, I mean, stranger things have happened.
Let's be grateful it didn't happen.
I heard that the Wizards gonna do. No, I'm playing. The Wizards are not gonna do Saturday night stadiums. But before we get out of here, right, we want to thank our sponsors,
Modern Man Photography and Resist Booksellers here in Petersburg.
Yeah, why buy a book on Amazon where you can buy one from a black-owned bookstore? And they've been a gracious host. So shout out to the owner here. Shout out to our videography. It's been all love since we've been doing this. But Kofi, I don't know about you, man, but we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Yes,
Until
sir.
next time, people, we love you and peace.